Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Total BS Show. I am Alex Kowalkowski. I own Prime Media Consulting, also the host of the Total BS Show. And this show is all about spotlighting a business spotlight. So I don't know what you guys are all thinking BS actually means, but that's what it means. And this week I am super excited because I have one of my personal clients that I brought onto the show, Damon, Carley at Dirty Duct's Duct Cleaning Service out of Rockford, Illinois. They service southern Wisconsin and obviously the Rockford, Illinois region. And I just wanted to kind of let him share his story of how he started Dirty Ducts, the journey of the struggles when you're getting things off the ground, and kind of where you've gone over the course of the last, probably 6-7 years of being in business?
Yeah, the last 5 or 6 years have certainly taken it to the next level and taken it quite a bit further than what it was for the first 15.
Oh, okay. So tell me a little bit about your journey. Tell me what made you decide to start Dirty Ducts Duct Cleaning. What were you doing before, and then kind of what was the initial launch like?
Sure. Basically, I kind of stumbled into the business, to be honest. Really didn't know anything about duct cleaning. Didn't know the first thing about it. Just had a friend who actually owned the business quite a while ago. He was older, had some health problems, and one day he asked for some help. He said he needed a ride to the emergency room. He was suffering from diabetes quite badly and needed to be rushed to the emergency room. And after a few hours, he said, "Hey, would you do me a favor and go back home and check my voicemail, and then write everything down, business related, and then bring it back to me?" And when I went to his house and checked his voicemail, in 2 days he had 16 messages for duct related calls, and that caught me very quickly, and I realized that and noticed that very, very quickly. So after a little while, he basically said that due to his health, he was looking to get rid of the business. He lined it up for me to where I really couldn't resist, and judging by those 16 voicemails in 2 days, I knew without a doubt there was something there. So long story short, we worked out a deal, and I was the new owner of Dirty Duct's Duct Service, and that was back in 2004.
Wow.
Since then, it's basically grown to what we have now.
So what was it like being a business owner? Because before that, you've always been a salesperson for exterior companies, things like that, and now you put on the hat as business owner. What was that transition like?
Yeah, I actually have a teaching degree. So I graduated college with a teaching degree, and then I've worked in other fields. So, the transition, I can't say that it was too terribly difficult. It was kind of natural. I mean, basically, we're answering the phone, selling our services, and, the previous owner gave me some good guidance as to how to do it. I did a couple jobs with him and learned very, very quickly what the process was. So, I mean, it was a fairly easy transition as far as lining up the jobs and doing the jobs. Trying to put the word out and get that phone to ring was a little bit more of maybe the difficult part. So that took a little bit of doing, a little bit of know-how, and a little bit of help from some professionals and friends.
So that's a good question. That's a good point, because a lot of small business owners, those are the people that we kind of gear this show towards, is they don't know, they know they're really good at what they do, or they can really help somebody. It's just, I need to get in front of people. So what were you doing before that was kind of like slowly turning the gears? And then what was the decision that really said, okay, that really launched you about 5 or 6 years ago, as you were saying before?
Sure. So previously, as I mentioned, I worked in other trades and did other things, and I was fairly successful in all of them. At the same time, I owned Dirty Duct's Duct Service. So, I mean, you can kind of say that Dirty Duct's Duct Service was a little bit of a secondary thing for me for quite a while. And then 7 years ago, my son was born. And, my previous job, I was traveling. and I didn't want to travel anymore. So a few things fell into place to where the other profession that I was in allowed me to work here locally. And with that, I knew that I could focus a whole lot more on Dirty Ducks and kind of ramp it up and put my feet on the gas, if you will. So that's exactly what I did. That was in 2014, end of 2014. First thing I did was just put a simple Craigslist ad out there looking for an employee. And I managed to find a kid, in his mid-20s. And I liked everything about what he said. We started doing jobs together. He caught on very, very quickly. And I realized that he was something special without a doubt. So because of that, I knew I had a good employee in place. We started knocking out as many jobs as we could. We started to realize very quickly that we needed to get some professional help with advertising and websites and all that good stuff. And so we sought you out, and certainly you put together a whole bunch of stuff for us that basically changed overnight. The phone just started ringing off the hook very, very quickly. And then with that, of course, the uptick in business was overnight. Probably within a year and a half, we were good enough to invest in a whole pile of more equipment, more advanced equipment. And we really haven't looked back since. Every year since 2015, we've built and we've grown without a doubt. I still have Aaron, my first employee, with us, and couldn't be happier.
So, I mean, I really appreciate you saying, we were able to help you out. But I mean, a lot of small business owners can't always reach out to an Alex, so they got to find someone else, in their local community, although we'll help anyone. But the idea behind that is you guys were doing other things before. And so how were you deciding if something was really successful, and how were you deciding if something was just kind of spinning your tires?
The numbers, I guess, the numbers don't lie. The amount of referral business, the amount that the numbers were going up, the numbers of jobs that we were doing, month over month, everything was increasing. So we knew that we were headed in the right direction. There was no denying it.
So you already got one comment that says, Stephanie Conley is a bookkeeper in the Chicagoland area. She says, I love the business name. And that's funny because you're not the only in the United States Dirty Ducks duck service. I mean, there's one a little bit north of you guys, and you guys are a little bit competitors in some regards, right? So how do you guys manage your territory? Because having conversations with you is very interesting. Because I'm the builder. I want to build it and expand and grow and get different geographies and really go after things. And what's nice about you is that you know where you're at. You know, kind of, this is what I want to do. This is my territory. This is where I want to stay. And you really want to hone in on your specific area of making sure that you're the dominant person in the Rockford community. So tell me a little bit about kind of managing your expectations yourself and really trying to focus on the customer service of just being known in the southern Wisconsin and northern Rockford, or the Rockford region, I would probably say.
Yeah, when people start doing something like this or something similar, they've got ideas of, well, I want to go nationwide as fast as I possibly can. And although that's certainly in the future, without a doubt, my focus was to absolutely, as you said, dominate the market that I'm in first. I need to establish a business model that is successful in this area, take over this market, and then spread my wings. And, you mentioned the company in Madison. Their name is a little bit different than us. It's funny how there's a few other companies around that in the nation that have popped up that either have a very, very close name or have actually, like one in Canada, because I don't have an international trademark, has actually taken the exact name. So the good news is we have the federal trademark. So We have the ability in the future to expand in different directions. And like I said, as soon as we establish the model that completely works to take over this market, that's the next step.
So, what are some of the hardest things about owning a small business today? Regardless of COVID. I mean, we'll talk about the coronavirus, we'll get into that type of stuff. But like just owning a small business, what are some of the day-to-day issues that you're really having to struggle with?
I mean, I would say the number one biggest one is probably the same thing that quite a few businesses deal with, and that's employees finding good, reliable, honest people these days. It's not easy, and you don't really realize how difficult it is until you actually try to reach out and find those people. Unfortunately, that is the one thing that has somewhat held me back from growing 2, 3, 4 times as fast as we are right now is simple personnel. We have the business to where I could easily ramp it up and expand. The equipment is very, very simple to put together. It's about the personnel. So that is without a doubt the number one thing that I deal with that is put up some sort of a roadblock. Like I said, I was fortunate when I found Aaron, our employee right now. I mean, if you look at all our Google reviews, we have, approximately 30 reviews, and that kid's responsible for probably 27 of them because he's amazing. So if I had 2 or 3 of him, it would be a different story right now. But just reaching out and trying to find those people, I found very quickly that there's not a lot of them out there that want to work really, really hard, that want to accept the pay that the industry provides. Pretty much in a nutshell, that would be the number one thing.
So, what did you realize early on in your business that was your real strong suit in the business? Because I feel like most small business owners, they feel like they have to be the Swiss Army knife and be really good at everything, when really it's focusing on a few good things and then hiring, either outsourcing to other people that can do a really good job, or spend the time having to develop it yourself. So what did you realize you were really good at, and how has that evolved over time?
I mean, I think as far as my knowledge base in the industry, I learned that very, very quickly from the previous owner. And then, through lots and lots of research, digging, and just trying to hone in my craft, I think that that's probably my strong suit. And that plays into where when the customer calls, the very first phone call, that's where I can grab the customers without a doubt. Our reviews, they speak for themselves, but until you actually, the customer actually talks to somebody, they really don't know and have a real good feel for the company. So I think that I can explain the situation, I can explain the process, I can explain our pricing, what to expect very, very well. And I've been told that by a lot of the customers that is on the phone is what sets us apart from a lot of my competitors. And then past that, that's when Aaron, the employee, takes over and he gets to the home and he takes it from there. So I would say without a doubt, that would be my strong suit as of now.
So in the course of business, we all go through peaks and valleys. Sometimes you have really good times. Sometimes you have the leaner years or leaner months. What were some sort of unexpected hurdles that you've had in your journey that you've had to overcome?
Well, obviously, as you mentioned, COVID is a giant one that we had to deal with. But probably equipment breakdowns, equipment malfunctions, being able to improvise and try to figure out how to not miss a beat, not miss any jobs, with some sort of breakdown or equipment malfunction. That's the big thing, because we got a lot of motors, a lot of engines, a big old diesel F450 truck. So something goes down, currently we're a 1 truck unit. Something goes down, we have to scramble very, very quickly to make sure that we don't miss a beat.
So you said that COVID kind of impacted your business. Has it been for the positive, because I would assume that a lot of people are home more, and so they're realizing that they don't necessarily have clean air in their homes. How is that? How has COVID kind of really impacted your business?
So, although I've certainly noticed a certain amount of phone calls that are COVID related, people looking for, do we disinfect, do we sanitize, things like that. I wouldn't say that that's really not a huge factor. What it was for us is my employee has two daughters that are both immunocompromised. So when this stuff was very, very fresh and there was a pile of misinformation and people didn't really know what to think, and the scientists were going all different directions, his first thought was for his family, and he shut down. Our phone did not stop, without a doubt, but with only having one employee currently at the time and me busy doing other things, we shut down. And then after probably about 2 to 2.5 months, some of the information started to change on the COVID, and I think that also started to influence my employee's thought process to where he felt a little bit more comfortable getting out there, and that he wasn't quite putting his family at so much of a risk. And as soon as that switch turned in his head, it was immediate. He was back to work, and we didn't miss a beat. We picked right up where we left off, and been jamming ever since.
So you shared something with us earlier when we were talking, that you during the time of when COVID first started, we kind of paused some sort of campaigns, but you left some things open. What was your thought process in stopping other advertising and staying with some of it? What was in your mindset, and how did that really impact your business throughout these past few months?
Well, like I said, when my employee decided to shut it down for a little bit, I knew that spending money on certain things like Google AdWords and things like that was going to make absolutely no sense. I was going to be throwing money out the window, so we shut that down. But everything else that was built, through the organic advertising, the SEO stuff that you established, the website, all that stuff, that stuff stays put. And really, the Google AdWords was the only thing that we've shut down. We really didn't have a whole lot of other stuff going on. Fortunately for us, I have a lot of referral business and natural organic business to where our phone just rings. So I've been very fortunate that even though we shut down the Google AdWords, the phone just still keeps ringing. So it's a good problem to have.
It's also a good test on us too, right? To be like, all right, is it the Google that's working, or is it the SEO that's working?
There's no question. Because as I mentioned, once I shut down Google AdWords, I have no Facebook, no Home Advisor, no none of that stuff. So all I was running on is our website and organic SEO stuff that was done for me. And without a doubt, like I said, the phone kept ringing. So it was proof that any of the money that I spent in that direction, got a good bang for the buck.
So when things are going bad, when your employee says, I need to pause for a little bit, you need to shut some things down. I know you're building a house right now, so you're going through you got a whole lot of life going on in your world. How do you kind of get through the rough days and the rough patches, not only in business but personally?
Well, I'm fortunate to where I wear two hats. I own and run Dirty Ducks Duck Service, but I'm also a field supervisor, and I sell for another company here in town, a contracting company. And I didn't miss a beat, because with my other business, we even got more busy at this time. It was just very, very fortunate. So that has just kept me more busy than I know what to do with. So I really didn't have to do a whole lot to kind of get through it, because I was working nonstop through the whole thing. So I know a lot of people didn't have that luxury to be able to just continue working. And I know a lot of people had to stay home and were struggling. But fortunately for me and my family, we were we were okay because I had another hat to wear and another source of income.
So, I know you said that you have a lot of referrals from the community. You and your wife have been kind of ingrained in the Rockford area. I think you've lived there the whole life, right? Both of you guys?
Yeah, born and raised.
Awesome. So, I mean, as someone born and raised in the Rockford community, how do you kind of get your name and number out there? And how do you give back into the community at all? What else do you do to kind of grow the goodwill out there in the whole Rockford region?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things for us is, our the local city that we're in. We're actually just a little bit north of Rockford. We're in the Roscoe-Rockton area, and a good third of our business comes from that area. So maybe getting our name out at the local high school, doing what's called the Ro Expo up here. It's the Roscoe-Rockton Expo, which is the local business expo. Giving discounts to seniors and military. That's a huge one for us. We're more than happy to give discounts for military veterans, and just by doing things like that, all those guys talk. So that's certainly spread it around as well. And then just the good old fashioned word of mouth, doing a good job, making sure that what we do is a good service, taking care of people, and when people are happy, they talk about it.
So, I know you guys get a lot of people talking about your business because, one, it is a great name, as Stephanie said. It's catchy. People know who you are. You do great service in the Rockford community in southern Wisconsin. But how do you differentiate yourself from your competition? Because you're not the only duct cleaning company in the Rockford community. Do you guys have written down strategies? Do you guys have a plan of action when it comes to how I'm going to really make myself known in the community?
Well, it's a combination between myself and Aaron, our technician. It starts when they call on the phone, and as I mentioned before, I feel that I'm very, very good at doing that part of it, getting the information to the homeowner, getting them to where they feel comfortable with us, and then going ahead and signing up the job. And then again, Aaron takes it from there. Once he gets into the home, he proves very, very quickly that he's on top of his game as far as what he does. And then because of that, and because I've been taught at an early age in the business to invest back in your company, I did throw a lot of money back in my company. And because of that, we've got by far the most premier equipment around here. There's nobody that has the level of equipment that we do, and that's a huge thing when it comes to cleaning ducts, because there's a lot of guys out there that try to get into the duct cleaning industry with very, very cheap equipment. Unfortunately, that gives some of the duct cleaners a bad name when they do that, because they get into a house and they do a horrible job, and that kind of gives everybody paints a broad picture of the duct cleaning industry. But because of the fact that we've got what's called HyperVac. We've got a HyperVac H1 duct truck, and they're the premier company that provides duct cleaning equipment. That, without a doubt, sets us apart from anybody around here as far as equipment wise. It's not cheap stuff. So that's a big reason why probably a lot of the companies don't have that amount of equipment, because it's a huge investment. But fortunately for us, we were able to make that one, and it was a good one.
So you've said Aaron is a particular awesome hire that you have. You're very fortunate that you're able to find him, and you've been working with him for many, many years now. What are some of the characteristics that you're looking for when Dirty Ducks is hiring for new people? That's something you can share with other small business owners that are kind of going through the same path you are right now.
Well, I mean, for me, there's two that are huge, and that's honesty and reliability, punctuality, if you will. Those two are going to be huge. If you don't have those, it's going to be very, very tough to go from there. So once I hopefully find that in an employee, which I did in Aaron, then the customer service comes into factor. Our employees are inside of homes every single day. They're going to be in your home for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and they're going to have interaction with the homeowners. So having customer service skills, being able to talk to the customer, answer any sort of questions that they may have on the spot, because, let's face it, a lot of people don't have a clue what duct cleaning is and how to do it. So we get a lot of questions as to, well, how do you do this and how do you do that? And Aaron's ability to answer that and take the time of the job to make sure that customer is at ease. A lot of times we'll have a 4-hour job where it should be roughly a 4-hour job. It'll take Aaron 6 hours to do it, perhaps. And that reason is because those 2 hours he's talking with the homeowner. He's literally just gabbing with the homeowner, making them feel good, explaining to them exactly what it is that we do. And that's a huge one. And if you read through our Google reviews, you'll see that shines.
So, I mean, as someone that is now a leader, because you are employing people to do work for you, what do you feel your 3 biggest strengths or your biggest strengths that you have as a leader? And, on the flip side, what are some of the things that you're still working on to kind of improve yourself on?
Oh boy. Well, like I mentioned, one of them would be my ability to talk to a customer, explain process, procedure, and let them know what would differentiate us from other companies. That's a big one. As well as to explain to them maybe reasons why they should be careful with some of the other companies, not necessarily stepping on anybody's toes or bringing anybody's name up, but things to look out for that would certainly be important with perhaps other companies. Just overall being able to manage, although it's just one employee right now, certainly has to be managed. There's no question. So it's the first employee that I've ever had in my life. So it's, we're winging it as far as managing that. The things that I need to work on, my weaknesses, I would say maybe patience was one of them. And I've learned a ton from Aaron as far as that. You have an idea of how you want things done, and you expect it to be perfect, and you expect everyone to be perfect. And then you have to realize that nobody's perfect. So I've learned some patience. I've learned a little bit of the give and take with the employee side of it. So that was probably my biggest weakness. And I feel that I've probably turned the page on that and started to turn that into a strength.
So who do you feel like has made the biggest, outside of me, of course, has made the biggest impact on you as a business owner or as a leader in development?
You mean as far as our company, what's made the biggest impact? I feel pretty comfortable saying that probably the hire that I made with my employee, with Aaron. I think that I do feel that I got pretty lucky finding a good person. And once I realized that I did have that right person, doing everything else in my power to make sure that guy had every tool that he needed, that had every day to earn an income that he needed, everything that I could possibly do to make him flourish was very, very important for me. And I think that we've done that.
How different is it being a business owner with an employee and a supervisor for a different company that, one is you have all the skin in the game, and two is, I don't have as much risk.
It's much different. There's no question. I handle all the day-to-day for Dirty Ducks Duct Service. I handle all the invoicing, the software, all of that stuff, deposits, you name it. Basically, I'm the secretary all the way up to the owner. So I get to see what exactly it is that it takes to run a small business. Whereas the other one, I can kind of sit back and I don't have to worry about that stuff. I have one job. I can focus on that one job, and then I let the boss of that company deal with all those headaches. So it's nice. That gives me a lot of respect for the other boss at the company that I work for. A lot of the guys in that company maybe don't understand what he goes through, whereas I do, because I have that with Dirty Ducks, and I know all the headaches in the day-to-day that are involved.
So, as you've been in business for a couple days, you've kind of gone through. You've had some hits, like Aaron. You've said was a big hit in your business, is a big boost and a good success story. Do you have any misses that you might have done? Is there anything that you've done in marketing or business related decisions that's like, ooh, next time I won't be doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big one for me is probably some of the interactions that myself maybe personally had with some customers, early on, and being a little bit younger and maybe not so understanding and forgiving. Probably I'd like to take back a few interactions that I've had with some customers and redo those, as probably most anybody does that's in business. That would probably be the one thing, because when you have a bad interaction with a customer, which fortunately for us there's very, very few of them I've had, but certainly I've had a couple over the years, and it sticks with you. There's no question, and you always want to go back and redo those things. So that would probably be the one thing that sticks out for me, is just a couple interactions that we've had with customers.
I agree. I mean, there's been times. I mean, I'm 35 now, so I mean, it's something where in my youth, you feel like you can run the world, right? You feel like you can have a better way. You feel like your way is the best way. You feel like everyone else just can't see your vision or see what you're trying to do. And I've never been afraid to step on people's toes, but it's different when you have skin in the game. It's different when it's your business that feeds your family, and you realize over the course of your time that I think you only get that when you start making mistakes, right? And there's been interactions with people that I probably wish I would have done things differently. I know I was probably right, but my way of going about it probably wasn't the best way. Or maybe the best way for them, even though you think you might have the best way, it wasn't their best way. And I've never been one for feelings. And it's something where I had to realize other people have them, even though I might not have a ton of them. Maybe it's the red hair, ginger, I don't know, the whole thing. But yeah, it's very interesting to see how a negative interaction with a customer who can write a 1-star review on you on Facebook or Google, or can spread bad feelings out there in the community about the one interaction that you might have, can really impact your business.
Nope.
So it's very interesting for small businesses owners out there to watch that. It's like I learned that I can't even really be opinionated on Facebook. I can't share what I feel, because I know that if something happens, I'm going to have 50% of the people that agree with me, 50% of the people that don't agree with me, and I'm going to get some sort of battle with that. Right. And the negative 50% of the people isn't worth hurting my potential business streams or potential clients, because it's very, very nerve-wracking as a business owner, because it's your baby and no one wants to call your baby ugly, and they could call your baby ugly by one negative interaction that may or may not even be business related.
Yes. And I've felt that with a couple customers. There's sometimes you may get some bad, like a bad review, and you deserve it. And then sometimes you've done nothing whatsoever to deserve it. So the ones that are out of your control, they're just that. They're out of your control. Every business and every person, if they're in business long enough, they're probably going to get those ones that they really didn't do anything to deserve. They may not even know how they got that review. But the ones that that you deserved, those are the ones that stick with you and that you want to redo, and you learn from. There's no doubt. And I've learned. Fortunately, we really don't have too many of the bad ones. We've been pretty good, but I certainly have a couple that I'd absolutely like to take back.
If you could go back in time, and you could tell your younger self something, some advice, what advice would it be in your business? You might have already answered it, I'm not sure, but But what would it be to say, hey, here's what you want to look out for?
Well, it may have something to do possibly with the customer interaction to be more relaxed, to even accept and to bite your tongue when you know you may be right, to just bite your tongue and deal with it one way or another. That would be one thing. And then the other thing would be I probably should have written a business plan back in the day a little bit earlier. So I would have had a little bit better of a roadmap to follow. We're kind of winging it in that respect. I would have liked to have done that a little earlier and, have something that's on paper that not only I have to adhere to, but something that I can show my employee as, well, here's our roadmap, and here's perhaps where you could be in 3 years. Here's where you could be in 5 years, and here's where you could be in 10 years. That would have been a big one that I probably should have done sooner.
Most small business owners treat it like the Oregon Trail. It's like they're going to go out and just find their own way out there and plant a flag and say, this is how I'm going to be successful. And the problem when doing that without having a written plan is that you can easily deviate by any type of distraction or complaint or issue that may run up there. And that's kind of what I alluded to earlier, is that when we started really seeing success with the website, is how can we grow it? How can we go to other communities? How can we do all this type of stuff? And for me, I want to build, like we're saying, I want to build for you. And what's nice is you have your plan of action, you have your game plan, you have your written plan of saying, hey, I want this, and I need to make sure that we focus on this. And to your credit, and that's maybe why Dirty Ducks has been so successful in the Rockford and southern Wisconsin communities, is that you stick to your game plan. You stick to, this is what I'm focused at. I want to be the best person with the best equipment in the Rockford area, and that's why people call you at Dirty Ducks. And I know it's on the screen, but I just want to give you a plug real quick. DirtyDuckService.com, 815-601-4506. They truly are one of the, and if you are in the Rockford region or southern Wisconsin region and you need professional help when it comes to air quality, they are the go-to people in that area. So I wanted to bring this back to you, though, is what is your appetite for risk?
What do you mean specifically?
Risk in business. How many times you've like, all right, let's just go for it.
Well, I'm absolutely willing to take a risk. I think that the great definition of being an entrepreneur is jumping off a cliff and building a plane on the way down. So I look at that, and that's exactly how it is. And, our H1 Hypervac duct truck, that was just shy of $100,000 investment that I made, the biggest investment that I've ever made in my life. So having that, we went from a 7x12 enclosed trailer to $100,000, just short of $100,000 F450 duct truck. So that was a giant jump off a cliff for me. And it worked, because that truck has not only given us the ability to do the job way, way better than anybody else, but it's a giant billboard as well. So just that thing driving around town, you can't miss it. So like I said, if I had another employee right now that was worthy, there'd be 2 of those running around right now without a question.
So how do you handle success?
I suppose just try to stay grounded and again invest the money that comes with that success back into the company, instead of got to resist the urge to spend it in other areas, because there's plenty of things that we want in life. So trying to resist the urge to go buy something that maybe that you want, spend it on the business, invest in that business, and especially with me, so far, it will come back without a doubt.
So you make a very interesting point, and it's kind of funny because every week we have a networking group that we do for small business owners called Prime Power Partners. And I know I've invited to you, but it's outside of your territory a little bit that you want to do business in. And that was exactly what we went over to this morning was how, as small business owners, we fight tooth and nail to get some level of success. And you define that some level. And once you get that first itch, you want to scratch more of it, but more importantly, you get that thing talking in your head saying you deserve something more. I deserve this. I should go get this more. It's only this much more money. I can make that. And we try and out hustle our brain at some point by not saving and growing our business and investing into our business. We just want to spend it, and our cup of expenses get bigger. So what have you always been the type of person where it's been, I need to save and I need to invest in myself, or is that a learned trait that you have?
No, I absolutely haven't been that person. No question. And I think that running this company to this point has taught me a lot of that, because no, I haven't been that person. I like things. I like toys, just like most guys do. But again, that first major purchase that I made, and then watching that come back and then some, that was proof. Proof is in the pudding. That taught me very quickly that those are and then, listening to just smart people in the business industry that know what they're doing and that have been there before. That's certainly one of the things that is on the top of the list of things to do, is invest back in the company. So I listen to those people.
So what do you like to do for fun? Get yourself out of the business owner mentality, and what is the thing? I know you have a beautiful wife, you have great kids. What do you guys do to just relax and have fun?
I mean, I think that the number one thing that we like to do as a family is travel, and that goes back to the not spending money too much on yourself and buying things, but yet putting it into the business, because I love to travel. I like to see the world, and it's just an urge that I've always had. I don't know that I'd call it an addiction or anything, but it's an urge to just see new things and see new people. That's certainly one thing. I like to golf. I'm a big golfer. I like to ride motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, all that good stuff. Of course, we like our firearms, just like most guys do. But just normal guy stuff.
So you're also building a house too, right? And so how is that?
Yeah,
and you're building this yourself.
I opened up my mouth 2.5 years ago to my wife and told her that I could build a house. And she's absolutely held me to that. Once I opened up my mouth, there was no looking back. Nothing else. There was no, let's just go buy a house that's already built. Nope. Once I opened up my mouth, that was set in stone. So here we are, 2.5 years later. I'm basically right in the middle of building it. And yes, I am building it myself. No builders, none of that. And drywall starts tomorrow. So I would say that we're probably close to probably 3/4 the way done with the house, and hope to be in it by Halloween. Halloween is my goal.
So tell me a little bit about Jen and how her impact is on the business. Do you guys talk business all the time? Do you have a good work-life balance? Like how do you interact, not only being an employee for one company, but also owning another one, and how does that impact the family dynamics?
She's a tremendous help. There's no doubt, because as you know, she came from somewhat of an advertising background. She used to work at the Yellow Pages and was very familiar with a lot of that stuff, the administrative part of it, the secretarial part of it. And, one of my weaknesses, to go back to the earlier questions, is when it comes to taxes and taking care of all that garbage that nobody wants to take care of. Half of it I don't even understand. And quite frankly, if I had to do most of that stuff, I would possibly sink. So she's been a tremendous help when it comes to that kind of stuff. She can handle, those stupid phone calls that you have to make sometimes. the tax stuff, a lot of that stuff that nobody wants to do. She takes that off of my plate, which allows me to focus on other stuff and be successful in that other stuff. So she's been wonderful. There's no question. Could not do it without her.
So you've been in business for a while. You've grown up in the Rockford community, being around business owners. What do you see is the struggle that most business owners make? And why do you feel that they're not really as successful as they could be?
Well, I mean, I would say that probably not in putting money back into the business. I'd say is a huge one for a lot of people. I see that even in my industry, but not only that, in a lot of other industries is not putting it back into the business. I can tell time management is a giant one for a lot of people. That's a big one. I see that not only in my company but in my other business that I work at. If you get a little bit too behind and the plate stacks up, it can be tough to catch up. So that's a big one.
What do you think is something that you've learned along the way that you could share to an up and coming small business owner? Let's say he wants to start a duck company in Rockford, and eventually wants to be your competitor. Do you have what are your thoughts on having new competition? Are you do you fear it? Do you welcome it? Do you how do you impact competitors, but more importantly, new people that want to enter your industry?
We do have quite a bit of competition. 20 years ago, there was less than a handful of guys around here that did it. And then, a lot of the HVAC companies, the heating and air conditioning companies, started to do it as well on the side. So we've got a lot of competition without a doubt. But I think that what sets us apart is we're strictly a duct cleaning and dryer vent cleaning company. That's all we do. So that allows us to focus all of our time, energy, and investment into duct cleaning. So we don't have to spend all kinds of money on equipment that wouldn't be related to that, like HVAC companies do. That's not their only thing that they do. So we couple that with what Aaron does out in the field as far as doing a good job, the customer service. Couple that with the way that I try to run the company, and that it appears to have set us above the rest around here, because I feel without a doubt we're on top of the game around here, and I like to stay that way. There's no question.
When you were starting your business, were you starting it from a position of strength, or out of weakness or necessity?
I would say that it was, I don't know, it's kind of hard to put a finger on that. Like I mentioned, I kind of fell into it, but I mean, I can tell you, I got lucky the way that the business was structured as far as the way that I purchased it. I didn't have to go to the bank, and I didn't have to take out a big old loan or none of that stuff. The owner was nice enough to do like sort of a land contract with me, and he worked with me as far as payments and things like that. So I got pretty lucky as far as that. Yeah.
I think that most people, when they start a business, is one of a few ways. One, they inherited money and they want to invest into a business. Two, they are sick and tired of working for somebody, and I need to get out and I can't work for anyone anymore, so I'm going to work for myself. Or the third one, which is I just got laid off and I need money, and so I'm going to go out and do what I'm good at, and I'm going to start my own company. And so what would you say to anyone that's falling into those three categories? What would you say to somebody that is ready to pull the trigger on a business? What's one piece
if
of
they're
advice?
ready to pull it? Number one, they gotta enjoy. Love's a strong word, but you very much have to like what it is you're going after. There's no question. It's got to be something that's inspiring to you. It's got to be something that a service or a product that you provide that makes you feel good. That's a big one for us. We change the air inside of people's homes. Half of our customers are health related. So when we leave a duct job, we feel very, very good about what we've done for that customer. So what else?
I think the biggest thing is being genuine. I mean, that's one of the things I've known from you for the last 5, 6, 7 years that we've been kind of partnering on some projects together, is that you're a genuine person. I think so many people try to launch a business and then they're instantly the expert. They instantly know everything. And I think you've probably seen that too, where you've gone to different, whether it's networking groups or events or things like that, where you try and talk to somebody and they're starting something new and they are the best person, even though they've only been doing it for a month and a half now.
Oh yeah.
And what's interesting is that in talking with you and getting to know you over the past 2 years is that you're really genuine. I think more business owners need to know, like, be honest, where here's where you are as a person, here's where you are as a company. And I feel most people, once they understand who you are, they're going to hang on to your flag and help you march with it.
Yes.
And I think that, so if I can kind of peek into your world at a 30,000 foot view, because we're not best friends, we don't hang out, but I know you a little bit in regards to how you run your business, and I can tell in all of our conversations, it's genuine care about not only the customers, your employee Aaron, your family, but making sure you do things the right way, and you can be honest with your potential customers or vendors that here's what I need to do, here's where I need to be, can you help me get there?
Yeah, I see a lot of the guys in the duct cleaning industry and the companies. They may be more profit driven and making money driven rather than focusing on taking care of the customer, and then the profit will come. Those proper steps. And I think that's going to be negative, and that's going to hurt a lot of guys. And then I have a tremendous drive to make sure that my employee is taken care of. He's got a family, and if he does his part, I need to make sure that I do my part. And it's a big thing for me to make sure he's taken care of, like I said.
So I have 2 questions for you left. I've taken up a lot of your time. You're not here for your health. You're here to promote Dirty Duck. And so just to let you know, if it's dirtyduckservice.com, 815-601-4506. Fantastic company serving southern Wisconsin and the Rockford region. But the 2 questions I have are, what you talked about a business plan. What are the goals for the next 5 months that we have left in the year? And do you already have your goals set up for 2021?
So my goals right now are, and a lot of the reason why I'm building my house right now is because I'm also building a 40 by 64 pole barn, which will house the Dirty Ducks truck for now. And then it also has room for another Dirty Ducks duck truck. So that is without a doubt the number one goal, is to get another truck out there in service. The phone rings enough. I know that I can support it. As I mentioned before, it's about finding the right person that can take care of it. So that is my goal without a doubt, is to put another person out there, train them, and get them with the ability to do what Aaron does, to run another truck. And, after that, it's pretty simple. 3 trucks, 4 trucks. But as of right now, the immediate goal is to get one more truck out there, go from 1 to 2. Yes. We're a simple air duct cleaning and dryer vent cleaning company that simply strives to be the best that we can, which is the old cliche, but to stay on top of the industry, to provide better equipment, to provide better service, both product service and customer service than anybody else around here, and make sure that we stay on top of that and make sure that we take care of the customer. Very simple.
Awesome. So again, one last time, Damon Carley, Dirty Ducts, Duct Cleaning, DirtyDuctService.com, 815-601-4506. Give him a call if you are needing air quality. He is one of the most genuine people you could ever ask for when trying to say, hey, I need help. He's going to be the guy that helps you. And if he can't help you with this, he'll build you a house. I'm not sure if he'll do one or the other, but I'm pretty sure he'll start with the duct cleaning.
One house.
The one house. Okay. And then you're done.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Next week we'll have another guest where we spotlight another business. And thank you for joining us on the Total BS Show. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.